I have them going 4-13 on the year, obviously missing the playoffs. You had them going 2-15, obviously missing the playoffs as well. Overall thoughts on just New England's situation, and then give me your offensive MVP as we start this combo on that.
Yeah, I could see him in that 4 or 5 win range. Obviously, just the way it shook out when I was going through this schedule, I was like, man, they're an underdog maybe in every single game they're playing, right? And they're a really young team with a really young offense, and I think it's going to be tough for them, especially with this offensive line in front of either Jacoby Brissett or Drake May, right? And I think they can compete on defense. Their defense could get a couple more wins than I have them down for. Obviously, the problem is it just feels like every Patriots win is going to feel like an upset this year, right? They are just in that rebuilding stage. Belichick leaves, still recovering from Tom Brady leaving and Mac Jones kind of not panning out the way they wanted, but no, I think they need to figure a lot of things out, especially offensively. To me, this is a year that is solely about the development, however they do it, of Drake May, right? And getting Drake May reps, surrounding him with, and developing weapons around him, right? And hopefully this offensive line stays in shape. But I'm going to go with an offensive MVP up front, an offensive lineman. I'm going to go with Mike Onwenu, who it looks like he's going to play right guard this year full-time. And he had a career-low 71.5 overall grade last season. But 2 years ago, as their full-time right guard, because they're always switching him between guard and tackle, this year he's going to stay at guard. He stayed at guard 2 years ago at a 79.3 overall grade in 2022. So I'm going to go Mike Onwenu. They need this offensive line to show up, if nothing else, just to keep Drake May healthy. We already saw Jacoby Brissett suffer an injury last night. We'll see if he can play week 1 or if May is going to be forced to start week 1. But that's what it's about. It's about protecting Drake May, hopefully getting this run game going. But Mike Onwenu is the one guy on their offensive line they can really, really count on.
Yeah, I think it is a really good shout out. Jordan Reed of ESPN, friend of the show, tweeted out last night, first round selection for the New England Patriots. It's going to be an offensive tackle. And I kind of jumped in on the fun and said, Will Campbell from LSU, you are New England Patriot. And I think that could very well be in their cards a year from now, but somebody's got to step up for the 2024 season. And you mentioned, I think that Mike Onwenu is probably their top candidate to be able to do it, but they're obviously going to need much more than him. The guys that they drafted in the middle parts of draft weekend, I'm a little skeptical of their ability to come in and play right away. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like for Caden Wallace, with him stepping in. I know they drafted Layden Robinson too, but I think it's going to be a little bit of time for those guys before they are really cracking that starting lineup. At least that's what I thought of them on their scouting report. My MVP is Drake May, because I think that obviously the team is going to go as far as Drake May does. And, I think it was interesting, Gerard Mayo on the Greg Hill show this morning, which is a Boston radio station, said, quote, Drake has outplayed Jacoby. But he also went on to say, now in saying that, we have to take the full body of work going all the way back to the spring and the beginning of camp. And we'll see where we end up. But those conversations are the ones that will be happening here over the next couple of days. He also talked about sort of when you start that rookie QB, you don't want to start them too early. And so I think that they're trying to play with a lot of that. I really do feel as though, despite Drake playing really well, I think Gerard Mayo in New England knows where they are with the offensive line. And I think that they were probably hoping to get about anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks out of Jacoby Brissett before they then were able to throw Drake May out there for the second half of the season, if you will. And they were hoping that the offensive line was going to be playing better at that point. The offense was just going to be in a better place at that point, and they were going to be able to protect their franchise investment. I don't know if they're going to have that luxury now, especially with Jacoby hurting his shoulder, which early reports, it doesn't seem like it's, too bad of an injury. But again, are you going to throw that guy out there? It looked like he was his throwing shoulder that was hurt. So Drake May is the offensive MVP, whether he starts in week 4, whether he starts in week 1, whether he starts in week 8, it's all Drake May for me. But what about defensive MVP? Who do you guys defensive MVP for this team?
I'm going to go with a guy who's really become a reliable force for them at linebacker, and that's Jelani Tavai. At 86.8 overall grade last year, was 4th best among NFL linebackers, and he was one of just 5 linebackers in the league with an 80-plus run D and coverage grade. He's one of the most balanced players in football now, and he's developed into just a plus starter for them at linebacker. And look, New England, Gerard Mayo's still going to try to win these games on defense, right? You've got guys on the back end. You've got guys up front like Keon White, Tavai, Josh Uche came back. It's a really unfortunate that Christian Barmore is now out indefinitely with the blood clot issue. He was becoming a star in the interior, but Tavai has really become a nice force for them at linebacker, a good leader for their defense, a guy run and pass who can produce. We see a lot of linebackers who can either only play run defense and have to come out in passing downs or vice versa. Tavai is a true three-down linebacker who can play all throughout the game. He's the leader of this defense. This front seven is going to have to keep them in games so their offense can find ways to manufacture points, And Tavai is really the leader of that, and he's going to be the driving force.
I'm gonna go with, and I think that's a really good shout out, but I'm gonna go with Christian Gonzalez because before Christian Gonzalez had the shoulder injury that sidelined him for most of last season, he was playing really, really well. In those 4 games that he played, and I know he only played 4 games, I understand people, but 80.0 overall defensive grade, 71.3 run defense grade, 75.1 pass rush grade when they even sent this guy at the pocket, and a 79.3 coverage grade. Christian Gonzalez looked as advertised when he was out there. He got an interception himself. He had a dropped interception as well, so it could have even been 2. Already had 3 forced incompletions, which was 12% on the times that he was targeted. I think with a fully healthy year for Christian Gonzalez, he is somebody who could absolutely take this next leap as well to be one of those top young corners in the game. So I'm going to go with Christian Gonzalez there. This is actually a very good transition because I was going to ask you who your breakout player is next, but I can see it here on the list. So go ahead and tell me why you think Christian Gonzalez is going to break out here, buddy.
I'm with you. You hit it all on the head. He looked like he was going to be a star moving into the later parts of the season. It's really a shame. I believe he tore his labrum in that game against Dallas. But yeah. No, I think to me, look, they showed us early on what they think of him. In their first game against Philadelphia, they just went ahead and shouted him on A.J. Brown. And look, were the results always great? No, but nobody's results are great against A.J. Brown if you line up against him every snap, right? But the fact that they trusted him with that, he competed really hard. He's got long arms. He's got good speed. And that one interception against Miami you mentioned, he was actually lined up as a free safety on that play and drifted back like any single high free safety would, and it just looks so natural for him. This guy is super athletic. He's got some of the best footwork of any young corner in football. The length is going to be an issue, especially in press coverage. He's got the whole package. He's got all the athletic talent to be one of the best corners in the league. I think he was on his way to being, Devin Witherspoon really last year was the top rookie corner by far. He was a superstar. But I think Gonzalez, had he played the whole season, would have been something close to that. On the outside, he's going to be a star player. I think he's going to be moving forward the best player in their secondary. I'm with you on Gonzalez.
Yeah, so my breakout player, I'm going to go with Keon White along the defensive line. Now, I thought it was going to take a little bit of time for White, coming out of Georgia Tech. He was a big body defensive lineman who showed a ton of athleticism. I mean, the potential was through the roof for this guy. The explosiveness that he had at his size and his weight, I mean, it was very alluring. And I can understand why the Patriots were really in on drafting him. But I felt like it was going to take a little bit of time for him to certainly be able to win as a true pass rusher instead of just being bigger and stronger and more athletic than the guys that he was going up against at the college level. We already saw flashes of that as the year went on last year. You saw some more technique from him. You actually saw some good pass rush moves, and I think that you're seeing that in the preseason as well. Keon White last year, just a 52.6 pass rush grade with 1 sack. This preseason, though, 74.5 pass rush win grade, 6.3% pass rush win percentage last year, 16.7% pass rush win percentage in the preseason. Small sample size. It's the preseason. I get it. All the caveats and context in the world. I don't care. Stop raining on my parade. I'm getting hyped about Keon White. I think he's a big-time breakout player for the Patriots and somebody that they're absolutely going to need depending on Christian Barmore's availability. Obviously, that being up in the air just makes White's role more pivotal for them to really be able to stand out. And they've utilized him everywhere from like a 2-eye as an interior defensive lineman all the way out to, again, like a 5 technique, hand in the dirt 4-3 defensive end. So they're not afraid to use this guy in a lot of different ways and be a true amoeba front as we have seen the Patriots be in years past. So last one, best rookie on the team. Who you got?
I have to go with the obvious here. I don't know when he's going to start, but he should start very soon, and that's Drake May.
Oh,
Look, I think he's shown us in the preseason he can make all the throws. He showed us at North Carolina he can make all the throws. He led college football in big-time throws over the last 2 seasons by a pretty wide margin, right? And I think the questions for May's success early on is going to be 2 things that really don't have a whole lot to do with him. One is pass protection, right? We've got a hole at left tackle. We've got a 32-year-old center. We finally got a right guard who I think we're just leaving there. They had a lot of injuries last year that caused it. City So now is a guy at left guard who's going to start, who they never expected to start last year, but played pretty well. Better in the run game than the pass game, but pass protection so May can throw the ball vertically, and weapons who can get down the field so May can throw the ball vertically. I look at Drake May as a passer as something like Ben Roethlisberger. This guy's a classic drop-back vertical passer. He wants to throw the ball down the field, into that intermediate middle of the field, chucking it over the top to post routes, things like that. If Javon Baker can be that guy, if Jalen Polk can be that guy, if Demario Douglas can be that guy, whoever it is that can win vertically, and then whoever it is up front that can allow May to throw the ball vertically, give him enough time to do so, that's where May is going to succeed. He's not going to be a quick game 5-yard out passer. I think we really need to start thinking about him more as a Justin Herbert, Ben Roethlisberger type of passer where we want to rip the ball downfield, but I need time to do it. I need guys to get open downfield to do it. Maybe I need a little play action scheme to open things up there for him, but it's a lot of variables around May that I question more than May's talent itself. He's super talented. We can see it. The arm talent, he can move. We saw the throw rolling to his left yesterday for a touchdown that got negated by a penalty. He can do all of those things. Like, this is the level of difference in arm talent. And I'm not saying Mac Jones is necessarily a bad football player. He's just different, right? It's quick game. It's winning with accuracy and smarts and doing all the West Coast things. Drake May's a little bit different. We're trying to get down the field. The Patriots had no explosiveness downfield last year, right? Drake May is the first piece of that. Now they need to develop everything around him to allow him to do it.
Yep. I'm with you. I love Drake May. He was so much fun to watch in North Carolina. I think he's going to be a stud in this league. I really do. Javon Baker is my rookie breakout player. And, Dalton, I feel bad for Jalen Polk because I think everybody's trying to be really trendy and pick Javon Baker. And I'm sticking with Javon Baker because I like him a lot as the 4th-round pick and not the 2nd-round pick. But I do kind of feel bad for Polk because Polk's probably sitting here like, well, hold on, wait a second. I'm also good at wide receiver. But, the fantasy football mindset and I got to find my sleeper type of guy. A lot of people were talking about Baker. But I think Jalen Polk's going to be fantastic as well. But I think what they are going to get out of Baker as a 4th-round pick is going to be fantastic return on investment. I legitimately believe that this is going to be – they have their wide receiver 1 and 2 for the future. If they were to ever get like a superstar wide receiver, for example, if the Brandon Ayuk trade would have happened and their top 3 wide receivers would have been Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Polk is your 2, Javon Baker is your 3. Holy cow, man. Like, now all of a sudden we're cooking with gas in New England. And obviously you're throwing in Pop Davis as well. I don't mean to disregard him because he's a fantastic talent too. But you've got a really, really nice young receiver group in New England. I think Javon Baker is one of those players who he just plays. He is so competitive at all times. Former Alabama 4-star recruit before he went to UCF. He's got good vertical speed. He's got really great body control and footwork to be able to run the entire route tree. He is somebody who is going to give you way more than a normal 4th-round pick would when it comes to that early return on investment. So I'm excited to see Javon Baker with New England and Drake May whenever Drake May ends up getting that full-time starting quarterback role.